Now this is the last unit. We'll call this unit C. This is the big one. This is the 8-bay unit, which is like something like 30-something feet wide, 313 inches, whatever it is. And that one is too big for one set of extrusions, so we made them in 2 pieces and have to be spliced in the middle. So what we did here is we made them so the first section has bay 1, bay 2, bay 3, and bay 4, which stops without a jam. And then we started again with bay 5 without the jam, bay 6, 7, and 8. What we're going to do is we made the splice points actually at the middle of the jam between at the middle of the intermediate mullion between the 4th and the 5th. So bay 4 and bay 5 are actually spliced in the middle where the mullion is. So what we did here is we broke the sill channel in 2 pieces, and which will be marked left and right, and same with the head C channel on the top. We also made a splice plate here for the sill, which is this piece here, and Victor will show us how that goes. That goes into the sill cavity. On the innermost part of the sill cavity, not where the weep holes are, but on the innermost part. And if you notice, it has 4 holes, and then it goes in here as well. Bring it in a little bit. Okay, so now if you notice, it goes in this way, and what happens is you'll see the 4 holes. What happens is when this goes together, the the intermediate mullion, which has, you got it? Which has the 4 holes, lift it up, which has the 4 holes, is actually going to get screwed through the splice plate here to connect it together. What we recommend we do here is before, you can put it down, before we put any jams or any vertical mullions on this unit, that you splice the sill and you splice the head separately first, so you have a long continuous sill and a long continuous head, and then you start assembling it from the jam to the intermediate mullions all the way through, and each one will be labeled. What's important is that when this is together, can we push all that in together a little bit or no? Oh, by the way, we're going to look at the head first. Hold on. The head splice, hold on, the head splice point is a little bit different. The head splice is actually a different type of extrusion, and it's already going to be attached to one side of the head here, as will the...
This one will be just taped.
That won't be taped, this will be attached. It's already attached to one side, and that will go in to the head this way.
So there will be much easier when you...
This will be much easier this way when the sill is by itself. And then when it's together, again, before you put them together, before you splice the sill and head together, you must put sealant at the contour of the edge of the heads on both sides, and silicone here and here and here, so there's no leakages at the joints. Same thing at the head, same thing at the sill. You want to put silicone and sealant at the edges of the sills and at the splice plates when you put them together and secure them. There's a nice sealant joint and all that. When all this goes together, the sill and head together, when the head goes together and everything is nice and flush, we go to the inside, and like you have 4 screws attaching to the one side, you can have 4 screws going into, from the head, connecting the head to the splice plate. And you're going to have a nice continuous head here, all sealed and all that. And you make sure...
This for the mullion, to shoot this way.
And then you make sure that this is nice and flat and everything mates up perfectly. You're going to have the same situation here at the head, at the sill. When they're together, everything will be spliced and be perfectly put together. And you notice there's 4 holes here, and there's 4 holes here. And then the mullion will go into the head here and into the sill there. And the mullion has 4 holes on either end, 4 screw embossed holes here. And then we're going to use the fasteners that we supply you to connect the mullion both to the head and the sill. So this is how this unit is actually spliced together in the middle to make 2 units. Again, every seam point, every splice point, every joinery of metal to metal must be sealed with silicone and sealant so there's no leakages. So whenever you put, again, like we did with the other installations, anytime you assemble a jamb to a sill or a head, or a vertical mullion to a head or a sill, the edges of the mullions, the edges of the jambs must all be sealed with silicone, Dow 795.95, before they go in here and they get attached. And after they're attached, all the fasteners must be caulked. You don't see the screw boxes here, right?
You don't see it if you take screw something.
So what we want to do is, we also want to make sure that the screw embosses here, which you don't really see when it's connected, they're actually internally. We would put some silicone in here and all as well too before we actually connect the mullions. You do see them, I believe, on the jambs when the screws go together. You don't see them on the vertical mullions, so you would definitely want to put some silicone inside the screw embosses of all the vertical mullions and all the face of the vertical mullions and all the edges before you actually assemble the frame together with vertical mullions. And then once you put the screw in, you again want to put silicone on all the heads of the screws. Anywhere there's a joint, metal to metal, you want it perfectly sealed. It's a meticulous process, but it will ensure the unit will not leak. And then you continue putting in the intermediate horizontals like we showed on Unit B, and you continue glazing it and putting the projectile windows below and the stops below and the glass above like we showed for Unit A and B. The only difference with Unit C is that it's a 32-foot wide unit, so the splice points could have to be broken up in 2. Also, if you notice, we've had to break the head seat channel in 2, and we've had to break the sill channel in 2 so that we can accommodate such a long length. Again, the way they cut at an offset pattern, but they must butt up against each other so that they touch each other. When they do butt up against each other, the edges must be sealed. That's very important. Again, here at the header, they're going to be cut a little short because they cannot meet at the splice of the head. So on the C section for the head, they will stop basically right before the splice point, whereas on the sill channel, they will actually mate and butt up against each other. Okay, again, when you connect them, sealant at all edges, sealing everywhere you can. We don't want to let any water out of the system. And again, after it's installed, refer to the first video on Unit A, all the back rod and all the foam and all the sealant underneath the sill, so that everything is blocked right behind the weep holes. And also, any questions, please call us, but these videos should be pretty self-informative.